Welcome back to another Rockford UFS deck profile. You have Chris Smith here. Today I'm going to be going over my Pauper deck that I played and won last Wednesday with Huitzil 2-Dot. He's pretty good. He's a 4-hand size 38 health character. He has a once per turn ability R after your attack is blocked. Add it to your hand after it resolves. Your opponent discards 1 momentum. And then E, if your attack is completely blocked, it will still deal half damage, rounded up. So basically, he gives all of his attacks the keyword throw. And then after R, after your attack deals damage, your opponent discards 1 card. So if they keep a card in hand, they're gonna probably block your attack. You get to return that attack back to hand, and you make them discard any other cards they drew or whatever. So he came in. That ability actually came in pretty handy because my opponents would keep at least 2 in hand. They would block with the other one. I'd make them pitch the other card in their hand, and I would go to town. So I'll start with the attacks. The best attack in the deck, Crash Bomber. If it's partially blocked, it gets added back to my hand. So if it's completely blocked, it gets added back to my hand. Or if it's partially blocked, I get to do it. So I actually bounced this back 3 times to my hand. Twice because they partially blocked, and once because they fully blocked. It's 5 damage, so no matter what, they're going to be taking 3 every hit, so that's pretty good. Let's keep moving on. Another really good card for this deck is Ken's Hadouken. As a first D draw card, since I am a 4-hand size character, I do want to get through as many cards as possible in turn, so this allows me to keep my hand full. On the off chance that I do keep a block or I draw something like another attack. It's pretty funny when you throw this as your first attack, your opponent completely blocks it or blocks it at all, and then you return it to your hand and draw another card. So it's pretty sweet. Next, we are looking at a staple on the fire symbol, I believe, is a 108 Shikiyama Burai. I added this. This is one of my favorite attacks that I'm going to be missing from when Rulers rotates. Watch out for that video coming out sometime soon, or it's already out by the time you guys see this. E, draw card, only play if I have more momentum. All my attacks basically will go deal damage unless they like OFID or whatever. So I always have momentum to do that, take the card draw. It's a 4-4, so it is a Robot Masterable attack as well as Ken's Hadouken. I do play Robot Masters in here. I believe that's a really good card for him. The majority of the attacks had the range keyword, so we're playing 4 copies of Shield Ram. After it got reprinted as after it dealt damage, so it's always going to deal damage with Huitzil. So I pitch it and draw a card after it resolves, has stun on it, it's Robot Masterable, has a pretty nice block on it. Not that I ever will block with it, unless I really need to. 3 copies of Rapid Proto-Buster. I added this in just this morning. I was only at like 18 attacks, 19 attacks, and I needed more because as I was drawing only about up to 4 cards a turn, there were times where I'd only have 1 attack in hand, and I really wish I had another. So I'm just going to keep adding attacks until I find that happy medium. It's a 3-3. It's not Robot Masterable, but I do play cards like 8K or Heart of the Mountain. If I'm able to give it a damage, because a lot of the cards still do have Earth on them, so I'm able to get it to 4 so I can Robot Masters it. Next is 3 copies of Iron Knuckle. It's just a good statted card. It seals a block if an opponent tries to block me with something that has like Breaker on it. And the Pauper event, I didn't have to worry about like Templar or Prepared to Fight, so the seal part didn't really come into play. But it's a 5. It's basically after Robot Masters in its effect. It's a 5 high for 6. So we're looking at least 3 damage on partial, or 3 damage on full, depending on if it's completely blocked with Huitzil's ability. Moving on to assets, I play 3 homemade explosives. It gives me a little bit of damage buff, damage reduction, and it allows me to keep draw a card on defense or offense if possible. And then I can also target my opponent's assets and destroy them. I think the only other asset I saw all day, Nathan Haffey had Kian in his deck, so I was able to get rid of that, I believe, in finals. On to foundations. 4 copies of Killing Dinosaurs, because extra damage is great, especially if I throw a 3 damage attack. and they skip block, and then we go after the block step for damage, and I add like 8 damage or 6 damage. There was a time where I added 4 damage. Most of the time I had 4 damage on it. Another card that I believe will be a staple in Huitzil is Elimination Mode. Since I make my opponent discard due to my effect, I get to draw a card. So if I have a couple of these on board, I hit, make them pitch a card, I can react twice to draw cards. So that's pretty good. Keeps my hand full, allows me to keep pace with my opponent since I am a 4 hand size character. Being a 4 hand size character, I probably will end up playing the majority of my cards every turn. So I have to have some damage reduction, 3 copies of Always Watching. -2 damage is awesome on most of the attacks nowadays. Most people with poking, people poke with like 3 and 4 damage attacks, or they lead in with that, so it actually helps me stay alive for a little while. Another card in the deck that I'm going to miss after it rotates is Large and Scary Looking. Not as much for the turn the face down, negate a damage reduction effect, more along the lines of if my opponent's printed hand size is greater than mine, it gets 3 damage. So to be able to commit for 3 damage on any of my attacks is pretty awesome. So it could push a 4 damage to 7, which allows it to do printed damage. So when they partial block it or completely block it, because having the throw keyword on your character is awesome. 3 copies of Robot Masters. The only attacks are not Robot Masterable are Crash Bomber and Rapid Protobuster. Rapid Protobuster can be brought up with cards like AK, and this could be brought down with AK to get stun on it if I need it, and put it back to printed damage. So it's a really good utility card if I need to start stunning my opponent due to them having too many foundations. But again, Huitzil makes everything a throw, so I don't have to really worry about it all that much. But as the game goes on, I really would rather have my opponent take damage than start blocking my attacks. 2 copies of Key Techniques allows me to discard cards out of my hand that I don't want for damage reduction, or I can commit and discard a card or draw a card on the offense, so that's pretty good, or defense, so it allows me to hand filter. Into spam, got 4 copies of Heart of the Mountain. Speed reduction, not that I really need speed reduction because I'm not going to be blocking that much, but it allows me to plus or minus an attack if I discard an earth card, so it allows my attacks to be able to be robot masterable, or it starts negating damage on my opponent's attacks if I start getting low enough in health, because I don't block, so I'd rather have some good damage reduction. 4 copies of 8,000 Degrees. Again, it's to pump my attacks to Robot Masters, or in the case of Crash Bomber, drop it down to 4, or damage reduction to my opponent. There's really not much you can really say about this. It's a fantastic card. 3 copies of Quick and Precise, just in case it's mostly for the stun. The speed doesn't really that matter to me since all my attacks gain throw, but being able to attack my opponent and tap down some of their good foundations as the game goes on is pretty helpful. Moving on to Zero Diffs, 4 Push the Limit, just foundation control, low block if I ever need it. And then I play 3 Friendly Rivalry. Basically, I have 7 zeros in here to, if I want to try to curve out all 4 cards my first turn. So if I draw any of the zeros, I know I'm going to pass them because I don't play any 2s in the deck. So again, this is damage reduction, so it helps me with not blocking. Unfortunately, if I'm not going to block after I play this, I'm going to draw it again, so it's not the end of the world, but it just kind of makes me a 3-hander for the most part, so that may end up coming out in later builds. Again, this is like a popper build, so there's no rares or ultra rares in the deck. I believe if I had rares and ultra rares, I'd definitely put Power Stone in the deck, because Power Stone is just insane. But he's really fun. I don't know how competitive he's going to be, just because he's a 4 hand size character. So he pretty much just murders 7 hand size characters in this format, I should say, because you don't get all of the Omni block. You get some of the Omni blocks, but you don't get like prepared to fight or dodge or anything like that. So you're looking at just a throw every turn. I want to try him off of Earth with throws, I guess. So I can get Surveyor, and I can play a lot of like the low attacks like Snake Slam, and I can place where is it? Rapid Protobuster. I want to try Genocide Vulcan in him just to see how it works out and see if it's actually worth playing, because with him, you're always doing damage, so it's always good to get extra damage for free so you can start doing printed damage on your attacks. I did have these cards in the deck. I just took them out. Direct hit doesn't really matter because he's always doing partial damage when it's completely blocked. And then I just took it out because it's a 3 diff, but being able to destroy for 4 damage on your first attack is pretty awesome. So one card that would tech him, but it's not available in Pauper, is Rhythmic Fighting Style. So basically you commit, you completely block the attack, it basically removes it before damage, so it negates the attack, so he can't return it to his hand. So unfortunately you can't play this in Pauper, so I didn't have to worry about that at all. Fireman was my worst matchup, but I played Tyler before the tournament, and Fireman just eats this guy alive because it's just neg damaging on all the attacks I was playing. Dimitri 2 was a tough matchup because of all the life gain. Unfortunately in finals, Nathan Haffey did not draw enough attacks to kill me, so I was able to just start wailing in on him after he was just playing all his cards in his hand to get to attacks faster. But I'm definitely going to keep this guy together. I'm going to keep messing with this build. We like doing crazy formats here in Rockford, so we may play another Pauper event, which I'll probably play him again, but with different attacks, or maybe off the Void symbol, just to see what kind of changes. But currently right now I believe Fire may be his best bet, just because he has so many cards that can add more cards to his hand. So like, comment, subscribe, let me know what you think about the deck, and thanks for watching.